May 22nd. Symptoms of a spiritual awakening. The steps lead to an awakening of a spiritual nature. This awakening is evidenced by changes in our lives. Basic text, page 49. We know how to recognize the disease of addiction. Its symptoms are indisputable. Besides an uncontrollable appetite for drugs, those suffering exhibit self-centered, self-seeking behavior. When our addiction was at its peak of activity, we were obviously in a great deal of pain. We relentlessly judged ourselves and others and spent most of our time worrying or trying to control outcomes. Just as the disease of addiction is evidenced by definite symptoms, so is a spiritual awakening made manifest by certain obvious signs in a recovering addict. We may observe a tendency to think and act spontaneously, a loss of interest in judging or interpreting the actions of anyone else, an unmistakable ability to enjoy each moment, and frequent attacks of smiling. If we see someone exhibiting symptoms of a spiritual awakening, we should be aware that such awakenings are contagious. Our best course of action is to get close to these people. As we begin having frequent, overwhelming episodes of gratitude and increased receptiveness to the love extended by our fellow members, and an uncontrollable urge to return this love, we'll realize that we too have had a spiritual awakening. Just for today, my strongest desire is to have a spiritual awakening. I will watch for its symptoms and rejoice when I discover them. I'm Herb the Addictaholic. This is Just for Today. And I noticed my beginning of a spiritual awakening. It wasn't just a one single white light moment. It's still in process, and I think it forever will be. I don't think there's ever a pinnacle of awakening spiritually. Until we die, maybe, but upon living, I think it's a gradual process. When you think you've plateaued, there's still another plateau to reach. And, the beginning for me, I was in sober living and I was in charge of cleaning bathrooms. And, I got up one night to use the bathroom and there was a mess. There was blood all over the toilet and in the toilet, like somebody had an episode of some kind. And normally, I would react angrily and I would want to drag somebody out of bed and be like, who did this? Why can't you clean up your own mess and blah, blah, blah. But instead I had this, this compassion for somebody in the house that's suffering, that's going through some sort of real bad issue, health-wise, whether they were using or not, like whether it was because they're healing in some way, like who knows, whatever it was, somebody's going through it. And so I was more compassionate about the suffering of another individual than I was, about me having to clean up a mess, as gross as it was, and so I cleaned it up. And then, I inquired the next morning and asked, who might be suffering, who's going through it. And of course I got no answers, but, hopefully that person is doing well today. Hopefully they made it through that episode and came out the other end healthy. Anyways, I've noticed little things like that, driving in traffic. I let the crazy driver go. I don't try and chase them down. I don't try and cut them off. I don't try to, give back what they gave to me in a negative way. Instead, I let them go and I pray. And I pray that they don't get in an accident, and I pray that they don't hurt somebody else. And, these little things make a huge difference when added up over the course of time. Instead of daily stress and aggression that's only killing me or possibly somebody else, instead I reverberate positive energy and hope that catches on and pass that off to other people. Thank you guys for coming out. Hope to see you tomorrow. Keep coming back. It works if you work it.